you're going to gain the victory exactly as I have already prepared you to do it. Hi friends, blessings in the name of the Lord. I have something quick to share today. I pray that this blesses you in the name of Jesus. So what I had been hearing is that it's showtime. Go as you are. You have been prepared. And I was reminded of what it's like to prepare for a race for a runner. So oftentimes we have this tendency, if we've been training for a race, let's say you're a long distance runner and you've been training for a race for several months, and you have a certain way that you've been running and certain way you've been doing things, and race day comes and many people are tempted to change something on race day. So people will go out and buy new clothes to wear, or maybe they'll go out and buy new shoes. They'll try a new sports drink on race day. Or also people tend to start out faster. On the day of the race, your adrenaline is high, and so people will hear the buzzer go off and they'll just shoot out of the gate much faster than usual because there's all these people around, and because of that competitive nature, people will run faster in the beginning, and if they are outpacing themselves, then they tend to lose momentum and lose speed as the race goes, and then they don't finish strong because they burned up all their energy in the beginning. And so an important part of learning to compete on race day, and I would imagine it's like this with most other sports, most other things where you have to perform and there's pressure to perform. It could be public speaking or giving a presentation or whatever it may be, that when it's go time, oftentimes we are tempted to change something, and that can actually backfire. So if you buy a new pair of shoes before race day, you can end up with terrible blisters. You don't know how those shoes are gonna fit. You haven't tried them. You don't know if they're the right shoe for you. If you try new clothes, same issue. You don't know if something's gonna not fit properly and cause problems for you. If you try the wrong drink, you can have cramping. You don't know how your body's gonna react. So essentially, you want to do all of your training and preparing in advance. And then when the day of the race comes, you don't change anything about what you've been doing. And that's important. That's important for having success on the day that it matters most. And it was also reminding me of King David. So we see an example of this principle at work with King David when he faced Goliath. So Goliath was a part of the Philistine army and had been mocking the Israelite army every day. David comes out there to bring food to his brothers, and David is, while the rest of the Israelite army is afraid of Goliath, David is not. And he's saying, who is this who's defying the Lord? And he's talking about how, asking around like what the person who defeats Goliath will get. And this gets back to King Saul. King Saul calls for David, and at first tells David he has no chance of beating Goliath. But eventually when David convinces him that David truly believes that he will be able to defeat Goliath because he has been shepherding his father's sheep, and when they were attacked by lions or bears, he has defended the sheep and been able to defeat the lion and defeat the bear. And he says he's going to defeat Goliath in the name of the Lord. And so eventually Saul agrees and consents, and actually gives David his own King Saul's own armor, which is a pretty big deal because the king's armor would have been the very best of the best of the best of the armor that they would have had. It would have been the lightest. It would have been the most advanced, with the best craftsmanship of how it was put together. So it would have given David the best chance at being protected as far as armor can go. But we see where David puts it on. This is in 1 Samuel chapter 17. It says, "Then Saul gave David his own armor, a bronze helmet and a coat of mail. David put it on, strapped the sword over it, and took a step or two to see what it was like, for he had never worn such things before." "I can't go in these," he protested to Saul. "I'm not used to them." So David took them off again. He picked up 5 smooth stones from a stream and put them into his shepherd's bag. Then, armed only with his shepherd's staff and sling, he started across the valley to fight the Philistine. And we know how the story goes, that David gains the victory over Goliath. Without a sword, but with the stone and the sling, doing it the shepherd's way. David was a shepherd, and he realized that at this crucial moment, he couldn't change anything. He couldn't go in Saul's armor because he needed to do it the same way he had already done it. He needed to do it the way that he was used to. He needed to do it the way that God had prepared him and given him the victory in the past. He had already been properly trained for this moment through the victories that he had gained over the lion, over the bear. He had already been trained to defend the sheep as a shepherd, and now he was going out to defend the sheep of Israel as king. Yes, he wasn't king yet, but he had been prepared for this moment, and this was an important moment of stepping into that role, which that role was only an extension of what he already was. David already was a shepherd. He was already used to just passionately defending his father's sheep. That's what he was going to do as king of Israel. He was going to passionately defend his Father in heaven's sheep. That is the people of Israel. And so he needed to do it the way he had been prepared to do. He didn't need to change anything when it was go time. He didn't need to change anything when it was showtime, when it was time to step up, and when it was the most crucial moment. That wasn't the moment to change anything about the way he had already done it. He just had to show up and do it the way he had already been doing it. And so that was what the Lord had given me to share with someone. This is an important time. You may have been called to step up into something and to go out and to try it. And it's go time for you. It's show time for you. And you may be tempted to wear someone else's armor, or to try to do it a different way, or to feel like you have to be different other than who you are. But the Lord is saying, you're going to gain the victory exactly as I have already prepared you to do it. You will gain the victory in the name of the Lord, and don't change anything about it. You are already prepared how you are. God has already prepared you and given you those experiences that you need to have the victory at the time that it matters most. So just go out in who you are. Do it the way God has already prepared you to do it, and don't change anything, and you will gain the victory in the name of the Lord. So I bless you with that today, friends. Please pray about this. It's more of a directional word, so just pray about it. If it resonates with your spirit and your spirit gives witness, then just take it to God, pray about it, about how this might apply for you. And if it does, then apply it. Then I challenge you, if it does, to then take it and cling to it and apply it to your life as God has shown you. So I bless you in the name of the Lord, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.